Hawkins.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists S Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening. How the heck are you? Welcome to the Thursday, September 9th edition, 2021 of Comic Book Spectrum, issue 29, I believe it is. But anyway, we're glad you're here. Hope you're ready for some reviews of what came out in the stands this week and some conversation, general fall-to-roll. But first, we've got to say thank you to our sponsor for this evening, Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. When you want somebody to pick up your book, whether it's a comic book or a prose book, whatever, you want the best cover you can get for that. And for that, you need Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. He does wraparound covers, comic book covers. All of them are beautiful. He can also produce graphics that you can use on social media to sell your work, as well as beautiful trailers like the one you just saw. I use his services because he's great to work with. He's very talented and he's affordable. So if you want to find out what he's all about, check out the Plasma Fire Graphics Facebook page and also the PlasmaFireGraphics.com page and see the samples there. Then get in touch with Jeffrey and ask for his rate card because he's awesome. Anyway, check him out. He's Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your reader. And something else that matters to me are my Patreon subscribers. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly, but in exchange you get stuff. I am back on the beam, and I've posted something on my Patreon page today that I hope everyone will enjoy. And if you were a member, you'd get to see it too. And tomorrow, I believe it is, we'll be posting chapter 19 of The Terrors. Got something to look forward to. But anyway, please check out what we offer at Patreon at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. Also, check out these people. They all have Patreon pages, too, and they're amazing. And also amazing is the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We've got your entertainment and information covered 7 days a week. Various shows ranging from mixology to cigars to comic book collecting. Hey, that's us. General conversation, science, and all kinds of good stuff. So check out our Facebook page. Please give it a like. And check out the other shows of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Following this show will be Stupid O'Clock at 9 p.m. Eastern. Please check. That's a great show. It's the best conversation show on the air. Imagine some well-learned geeky people sitting down and talking like they don't care what the subject is, because most of the time they don't. So check that out. Also stay tuned at 11 p.m. tonight, all times Eastern, because that's how I think anymore. And go watch Last Man Standing with Dan Hallfield. It's always a good time. So check out all the stuff on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Speaking of a good time, let's unmute these wonderful people. And something got something. I smell sexiness in the air. Could it be? Oh my gosh! I thought I'd see the smiling face of Brian Rodman himself, but look at that thing. I'm aroused. That is beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. Where did you get that, Brian? Really? Oh, there? That's cool. Are you plugged in, dude?
Can you hear me now?
Well, now we hear you.
That's more like it, yeah. That was Brian, and that was Brian's
I thought it was a
funniest thing
bit.
ever. So if you were a lip reader, you're probably on the floor wetting yourself.
Could you really not hear a word I was saying?
Not a word.
No.
That's good to know. I can just do this. That's fantastic.
Well, I could just do this, and it's like, okay, well, it didn't work, did it? Damn.
No, so I don't know the link to this, but Eric does.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
So anticlimactic.
Eric,
Wonderful.
I had somebody this week wanting to know, where can I get a shirt like yours that you were wearing last week?
Ooh.
And I got the shirt
And
too.
so I sent them the link.
Ooh,
Yeah,
caressing
so
his manly chest.
See, Clyde has a link.
I need my percentage.
Yeah. Yeah, Clyde has a link, but the guy that owns it doesn't.
Yeah.
I tell you. Anyway, we would put that up if Eric knew what it was.
I
I
put
feel
it
like
up
he's
every
working
week.
on it.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, it's a great place to get all the fun comic book spectrum stuff. And I'll actually be utilizing the same service here soon for other purposes.
aha.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Good idea.
Yes.
Oh, I'm feeling better about my merchandise.
Links in the chat.
Yay! Yay! He came through. Hurrah! Hurrah! Well, anyway, how about we go about the room and everyone, we'll start with Brian, then Eric, then Clyde, and everyone introduce them. No, we'll start with Clyde, because anything we do is anticlimactic either before or after what he does. So, Clyde, you want to lead us off and tell everybody who you are and why you are so darn amazing.
Well, I'm amazing today because in tribute to unofficial International Brian K. Morris Day, I am wearing my Grunkle fez from Gravity Falls. It's red. It's not quite as cool as his fez, but it's the closest approximation I have to my wardrobe. So I'm Clyde Hall. I'm an independent author. I do work as a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. Just sent in last week my third story of a character I created called B-Man for Pulp Reality #3. Coming up, I have 2 super secret projects where I get to play in other people's sandboxes at Stormgate Press and write characters, permission to write characters that other people have created, and I'm having a blast doing it. So you can find my work right now in Pulp Reality #1 and Pulp Reality #2, available on Amazon or at www.stormgatepress.com. You can catch up with me here every week on Thursday nights at Comic Book Spectrum, where we do our review thing, and we put out some of the feelers for comics that we have read this week, and our views and our reviews, and also recommendations for things that you should not pass by on your local comic book shop rack.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Clyde. And now we segue over to Eric S. Hawkins. Eric, tell everybody who you are and why you are so fantastic.
Well, I'm Eric S. Hawkins, the creator of the Zombieful World of Oz. And don't worry, that's just a sketch cover. I drew Dorothy as a zombie. She will not become a zombie in the book yet.
Spoiler. Jeez.
We saw it coming.
You can find me on Twitter and all the good social media places. But probably if you want to finally join my Patreon, this will probably be the week to do it. 'Cause I'm going to start putting up, I won't say drawing courses, but it will be how-tos on how to draw. And this week we are going to start with basic body anatomy.
Sweet. Yeah. What's your I know it'd be www.patreon.com, but what's your
sure, it's like Eric Hawkins. Which I'm sure it is. Yeah. Eric Scott Hawkins.
Eric Scott Hawkins. Okay, cool. Because that saves me the trouble of looking it up. But anyway, because I'm already a supporter. Anyway, thank you so much, Eric. Thank you.
Thanks.
And there he is, the one, the only, we can only hope. Mr. Brian Rodman, please inform the audience of your amazingness.
Well, I'm Brian Rodman at brianrodman.com, which is the easiest way to follow me and all my shenanigans. I am the author and illustrator of comics, such as all of this junk right here. Memoirs of an Angel is a horror fantasy comic book series, and The Nebulizer is a post-apocalyptic action comedy. They're a lot of fun. They're really interesting. This is like Lord of the Rings meets The Exorcist. This is like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meets Mad Max. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm also 1/3 of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, which is about to premiere October 6th on the Rising Tide Network, everybody.
Yay!
And yeah, that's it. That's all for me. And in case anyone was wondering, yes, I am going to be the live nude model for Eric's class this next week.
Well, that means I'm signing up twice. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, we're drawing bears.
Don't pass up this tasty piece of man candy. Let me tell you that right now. Oh, yeah. I can hear George Sakai weighing in on now. But anyway, oh my. But anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris, writer, publisher, editor, broadcaster, award-winning playwright, and former mortician's assistant. And I can be found at www.risingtide.pub, also on YouTube as Brian K. Morris Rising Tide. And we have a YouTube challenge right now. How miserable do you want to see me become? If you want to see me probably get wear out my hail pail, we are looking for 1,100 subscribers by the end of Halloween night this year. And we are on our way. We have over 600 of them, approaching 620 is the last time I checked. And what we're going to do, if we make the 1,100, is we are going to have a 12-hour broadcast, in which case we're going to have guests and some giveaways and all kinds of fun stuff. So please sign up for my YouTube channel if you have not already. And otherwise, please share, like, and share out this broadcast, because it's a lot of fun, and I think your friends will probably include you in their wills if you provide this much amusement to them. So that's my guess. But anyway, let's start with the comments here. All right, and first one in the gate is Carl Witzman. Good evening, everyone. And wow, where's the crowd? You are the crowd, sir. And Donna Carlene and the hosts are late. No, we were closer to being on time than we've been in weeks.
We're wizards.
That's right,
Yes.
by Jingo. That's true. And Willow Schuyler of the Hanging the Web Show Network. Check out Willow's Pillow Talk. Also, back of the Cereal Box Network, where she and Keisha Acuff talk Cryptid Crunch. And she's here. Yay! Mwah! And everyone's saying hello to each other. Hello, Ryan Permissive. Thank you for sharing this. Check out the Nerd Culture channel. And
Went down the wrong way. I didn't want to spit it up on the screen.
I was about to say, is he dying? Do we need to call 911?
Yeah, really. Well, it's funny. A little aside here. I'm a big fan of Philip DeFranco. He does a news show I watch during the week, and he was covering this new thing on TikTok, drinking pickle juice from the jar.
Gross.
Which
No, that's
I've
actually
heard-
really good. And if you have gout, it's excellent.
that's
Nope.
true.
I'd rather die.
Well,
you don't
what
like
happened-
pickles?
Nope.
You don't like a big pickle?
No, I don't.
Do you like baby gherkins? Huh?
That's illegal in my county, Clyde. I'll get you 10 years in the county pokey, and I do mean pokey. But anyway,
Baby gherkins.
but no, he had his wife, who doesn't like pickles, try it. She sat on his lap, and he said, "Here, honey, try this." And she's like, "Drink the whole thing?" He goes, "Yeah, big gulp, big gulp." She took a big drink, and about a tenth of a second later, spit the entire contents back into his ear.
That's what you do.
And she's like, looking at him like, "Where was I supposed to put it?" It was quite funny. And he said that his analytics at that point went, and then after she left, it was like back down to normal. So I think my one chance for stardom would be to get Cookie to sit on my lap and make her drink pickle juice or something. That should
Or
be
the next show you're at, have Brian drink the pickle juice.
there you
Nope.
go.
Won't do it. I'll quit.
Brian, here's some lemonade.
It's green. It's limeade. That's why it's
Nope.
green.
No, because I'll smell it from a mile away. Because here's the thing. I'm traumatized with pickles. My dad, at breakfast when we were growing up, my dad had pickle juice right next to my face at breakfast time. And all it was just, it made me, it like overwhelmed all the taste of all the deliciousness that I had on my plate. And I can't do it.
That is weird. Who eats pickles at breakfast?
Monsters. That's who.
Would. Well,
See?
Case closed. Case closed.
Oh,
Move on.
No.
I can have pancakes for dinner and I can eat burritos for breakfast, and I don't mean with eggs in them. So, because there's something seriously wrong with me.
We know.
I guess. And
Well, I
moving on
love
to our
breakfast.
next thing.
Breakfast food for dinner is great, but pickles are not. They just don't seem to fit in with
Nope.
the breakfast model.
Pickles don't fit into any model because they're of the devil.
You like cucumbers?
I do, actually. It's the pickled part that I'm not a fan of.
You're a fan of a cucumber because it's hard, and the pickles are too soft for you.
Comic book reviews. What are those?
Cindy, I think this is part of what we were talking about today. Anyway, good morning in the Philippines. Good morning to our Filipino viewers, all of whom have fled. And hello, CBS crew from Ryan Permison. How is everyone? We're fine. Got my CBS and Rising Tide shirts and stickers. My car looks great. And I believe it actually increases the resale value, although now you won't want to resell it. And let's see. Oh, and he's got a couple questions here. Let's come back to those. How in the world are you? I'm in Lafayette. I'm doing well. Didn't die mowing the lawn, so all is well. And from That's One Small Press Publisher on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Check out last Saturday's. It was a very thoughtful examination, which I'm almost through, Joe, of Comixology's new policies. Comixology may be going belly up, but merging with part of Amazon. We could talk about that later because we haven't set up things. Evening, I get to watch a few minutes of CBS before I have to be in another meeting 9 to 5 related. Oh, we're all sorry about that. And you're muted, Joe. You're right, Joe. We can't hear you. I hope that Joe.
Wait, hold on. I think I hear something off in the distance.
Okay.
I hate horror comics. They're terrible. Superheroes are so much cooler. Yeah, that's Joe.
Yeah, okay. None but love, Joe. None but love. And and everyone's saying hello, and I think you need a new producer. I do too. Mostly because it's been me up till now, and everyone's saying hello to each other. And let's see. Just had a little dump there, and yes, she is still speaking to you, Carl. Very good. Adrian Johnson, it's going great. Happy to have you here, and the crowd goes wild, if not the people on the screen. And hello, Michaela Jade, a proud part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, and we're very proud of her. She is about to pass me up in YouTube subscriptions. We'll see what kind of broadcast we can get out of her when she reaches my goal. But anyway. She won't do it. She's smarter than I am. But anyway, also check out her morning motivationals very, very early and give you a kick in the butt to get you off and creating. Wait, what did you think I was going to say? And also check out Tidbits and Scribbles every Monday night at 7. And she gives all kinds of great advice to help you get on your way. And Brian Hawkins, it was glorious spending the day with you, sir. Hope you're doing well. And I could tell your brother loved his comics. And the hosts are never late. They always arrive precisely when they mean to. Thank you.
Exactly, Cindy.
Exactly.
Just like wizards.
Yes, like wizards we are. And my little sister used to chug pickle juice. Well, good for her. And Michaela Jade likes pickles. The crispier, the better. And less than 10 minutes they're in, and there go the rails. Yeah, what rails? We don't do rails here. And I just came in at a pickle. I didn't start this, Sarah. That's called good timing. And of course, she came in at an innuendo moment. What else is new, right? And she said her pull box was picked up along with a box full of other comics. Maybe you do have to put a chip in me. The guy ahead of me spent $300. I spent $100 right after him. Then your shop ought to be open more hours then. So think about how well they do if they'd stay open a little longer. But anyway, we're glad to see you here as always. Hello to Michaela and everyone's saying hi. And with that, we have you want to go back? Let's go back and briefly let's see. Ryan Permison asks, are we getting too much Spider-Man content in the next few years?
Nah.
Not if you like Spider-Man.
We're not getting any more Spider-Man content than we are Batman content.
True, and don't do this to me, Ryan, because this is my review tonight. So don't do this to me.
This is how I look at it.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm when it comes to movies, I'm cool with a little more Spider-Man, a little more Batman. When it comes to comics, I just probably won't pick those things up unless it's Batman 89 because I'm a sucker for that. But there are plenty of people out there that can never get tired of those things. So you know what? They can enjoy themselves and let them have as much Spider-Man as they want to. And the rest of us can go elsewhere because there's a lot of other books to choose from.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, just because we don't buy it doesn't mean we aren't going to deny someone else their pleasure.
Right.
And if they think there's probably people out there that wish Marvel had published nothing but Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't know about that.
Oh, Eric. I've worked at a comic book shop. Some people are like,
yes.
why don't they just make every comic about Batman? And they're not being sarcastic, that sort of thing.
Well, back in the 80s, early 90s, that's what they did.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
They took those characters and just shoved them in everything.
Oh,
or they did what Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder did and made every character Batman.
There you go.
So there's that.
Yeah. So are we getting too much Spider-Man content the next few years, Ryan? Who says we aren't already? But different strokes for different folks, and we shouldn't be, or I'm not saying you are, but we should allow people their fun.
Yeah.
If it's Spider-Man they love, then let them have some more Spider-Man. And here we go. Any thoughts on the Matrix 4 trailer? I saw it today.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. So the Matrix, the first one, I loved all of them. I love the trilogy.
Yeah.
The second and third one are weird, crazy out there, and I really enjoy them.
Turds!
The first one is in my top 5 movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the first Matrix movie, and the fact that the one of the Wachowskis is coming back to direct this one, and they're partnering with the production company that did John Wick. It honestly looks like Neo is going full like Dr. Manhattan in this one, and I am stoked. I'm excited to see how they connect the third one and this one. I've already read a ton of theories by fans about how it could possibly be pretty much the last, everything that happened with Neo in the third one could potentially mean he got kidnapped by the machines and that was all a simulation. And that's my favorite one. That's probably not the case, but looking at what, having him take the blue pill all the time to suppress his powers in the trailer, genius stroke. So I'm really excited about this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I have to agree with you. I saw the trailer today, and on Labor Day, I went to see Shang-Chi, which I adored. I thought that was one of the best movies I've seen in ages. And then I'm seeing trailers for the new James Bond film that looks amazing, and
yes,
the Venom movie that looks like a lot of fun. If you call cannibalism fun, but anyway, well, yeah, it's a Saturday night. What you gonna do, right? But anyway, I usually have. I haven't gone to the theater in a long, long time. Before this, my previous film that I saw in the theater was Wonder Woman, which gives you an idea how little rather I miss
the first one, right?
Theaters. The first one, yes,
yeah.
The one with Linda Carter. No, but anyway, no.
That's what I was thinking. I think that was a TV series, Brian.
Yeah.
At my age, they're all TV series. It's just a bigger screen than most. Anyway, but no. I'm excited. I'm excited for the Matrix 4. I really am. If nothing else, I am curious as heck to see how this fits in with the original trilogy, if it fits in with the original trilogy, and although it looks like it might. So
yeah, no, they have officially come out and said it is the fourth one, so it is an official sequel.
That's true.
So we'll, like I said, I'm excited about the creativity. I love that they didn't hide anything about Neo. Like, obviously he's back and he's Neo, and now it's just like connecting the story plot. That's actually what we care about. So I'm excited.
Cool. Now, Eric, Clyde, have you guys seen it yet?
Mm-hmm.
Eric's a curmudgeon who doesn't.
I like the first Matrix movie. I did not like 2 or 3, and it's not. I mean, it's an enjoyable movie.
They're
but it's not
freaking weird, man.
Yeah.
They're really super weird. Like, anybody that doesn't like those movies, I completely understand, because I remember watching them in the theater going, I dig this, but this is really weird. So, well, apparently, because like obviously it's very obvious that the first movie is like an analogy of Christianity, and the Wachowskis came out and said that at the time, and then the second and third one are supposed to be like, I think, Hinduism and something I can't remember what the third one was, but if you know, like, this, it's essentially like the cycle of religion that they go through with those 2 movies, and it makes a little more sense if you study up on those. But if anybody in the comments section knows which religions they were trying to depict, correct me, because I don't remember.
Yeah. Or you can be, if you're, maybe they'll get Cullen Bunn to write them, and you can look it up on the website.
He's doing the adaptation, the official adaptation.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I love the first movie. It also ranks I hate ranking movies because there are so many, and it just depends on my mood, and it depends on the genre. When they say, what's your top 5 movies of all time? I never answer, because that's just too... I would leave something out that's vital. That would be
it depends on the day.
Well, get ready for the Dastardly Dingoes interview that you're going to have, because that's our first question.
I've been studying your ways. But that said, I didn't think that the other 2 lived up to the first one, and it would be hard to. There are elements, though, I like about, like in the second one, when they go, ghosts are a glitch in the program.
Yes.
Those little things I would not miss. I wouldn't want to miss out on, because they were really, really good. So, but I felt like it was done. And then we got a fourth one, and I'm very much, and also some of their other projects have not really been very fruitful, I don't think. Have they? So,
I'm trying to think. The last one that they did, I love Speed Racer. It was fun. But no, the one that I really liked
did when they saw Speed Racer. So yeah.
The one that I really liked
Racer, I saw this. I was like, what is this?
The one that I really liked was the one with, it had Tom Hanks and Hugh Grant. It's the one where like the same characters are in different realms.
Oh yes.
All right.
And I really liked that. It was kind of a surprise. I was like, okay, this is interesting. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
But Eric, you don't like movies, do you?
Hey, I'll tell you what, I saw a great trailer this week. Last week for the new Spider-Man, but this week for Scenes from a Marriage, which is going to be on HBO. It has nothing to do with superheroes or comics or anything, but it has Oscar Isaac in it. It looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Well, as a real movie, as Scorsese would say, or something.
Well, yeah. Speaking of Oscar Isaac, saw him in the Dune trailer. Too.
Oh, dude.
He's in everything.
I know.
Good for him, man. Good for him.
Brian,
he's going to be Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be good too.
Yes, Clyde.
The movie was The Cloud something.
Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas.
Oh, yes.
There it is.
And that was good, but I don't think it was a big commercial success. It was pretty far out there. It's kind of I have a wait and see attitude about, I like the look. I think the trailer is amazing and it gets attention, but I'd be very much watching it like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get my hopes up too high.
Yeah. I've found, and I respect that opinion completely, because I've been there. I have found anymore, a movie has to be really, really bad for me to not like it.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, I go into movies anymore with like just an attitude of whatever you give me, I'm gonna enjoy, and most of the time it works. Now, the only movie this year that I've watched that it did not work at all was Wonder Woman 1984. That was.
I thought that was amazing. No,
it
was trash. It was so trash.
It was really rough. Now, but at the same time, there were a lot of people that worked really hard on that movie, and good for them. But I have my own opinion about why it failed. Cough, cough. What's his face that ruins all the movies?
Jeff Johns.
Yes, thank you.
How did I come up with that name?
Well, because his name is all over that movie, where it wasn't with the first one. So that's the one thing that changed. I think he's responsible for how bad it was.
It could be. Yeah, but I agree with you, Brian. I generally go in wanting to like the film. I even saw The Spirit. I didn't see it in the theater, but I saw it on video. And as long as I forget that it's based on a work of comic book genius, and if I take it as a parody of good movies in that genre, then The Spirit is pretty palatable.
I watch The Spirit the same way I watch Batman and Robin. I just have fun with it, and it becomes entertaining and fun. Samuel L. Jackson, like you could just tell watching The Spirit, they had a blast making that movie. Samuel L. Jackson and Scarlett Johansson probably had the most fun in their entire life watching that movie, just being ridiculous. In that movie. Now, is it a good movie? Absolutely not. Nor does it have any recollection of the Spirit comics, which is ironic because Frank Miller was the protege of Will Eisner, so that makes no sense to me how he would homage that man with a terrible movie. But
well, I'm also thinking Judas was an apostle too, so I almost killed the Bible student.
Well said.
Man,
they can turn on you. I'm telling you.
Hey, I love movies, and yes, I do the same thing. I go in. We saw The Spirit first run in the theaters because I was willing to give it a shot. I had heard some bad things, but I didn't care. I wanted to see it. And oh my, I can't go that route. I can't travel. I could with some of the other films that you mentioned, but not that one. I just that just made that hurt me to watch it. It really hurt.
Bad.
Yeah.
Some of the best movies I've seen, I've gone in with no expectations.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And some of the ones I've gone in with really high expectations, and they should have been good, turned out to be crap.
Yeah.
Last Jedi.
Well, back in the day, I went to see Dick Tracy.
Oh, okay.
And I was looking at that and thinking, "Oh dear God, this is going to be Ishtar or something." Ishtar regurgitated.
Brian, do you know what Ishtar is?
Yeah, it's
the young one here.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm familiar with the goddess Ishtar.
No, this is a movie in the 80s.
No, it's
it was Warren Beatty.
I've never seen it, but
Dennis Hoffman,
and Dustin Hoffman, and it was basically
Hoffman, yes,
two buddies get together and figure, well, we'll just make a movie and everyone will love it because we're in it.
We don't work out.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out that way.
I love Dick Tracy though.
I did too. That was the thing. I thought Dick Tracy was as good as Ishtar wasn't. So, in fact, I periodically pull out Dick Tracy and put it in the old machine and shut up. It's a movie about a newspaper strip detective. Brian's just getting mad at me. He's trying to make it up for that Judas remark. Anyway, but anyway, hope we helped everyone with that one. I just remember we're a comic book show. Anyway, Sarah says the shop owner was so happy he carried the box to her car.
I bet. Yeah.
Unfortunately, her car was parked 10 blocks away at home. So, but anyway, and Cindy Kemp says, CKOEPB.com. Check out our website, please. If you're a Spidey fan, not enough. If you're not, way too much.
Yeah.
And Brian Hawkins, excuse me. I'm mixing up my Brian's again. Spider-Man is my favorite character, but haven't been picking up any Spidey books for a while. Understand. And every character is Batman, so ask Carl Witzman. My mind flashes back to the humorous Casino Royale where everyone was James Bond. That went real well. Sarcasm mode engaged. And Brian Hawkins is looking forward to No Way Home and Spider-Verse 2, though. Oh, yeah. Spider-Verse ought to be fun.
Spider-Verse, yes.
And Cindy Cap says, I'm going to go on a guess and say the Matrix trailer had too many flashing lights. Sorry, haven't seen it, but I'm kind of grouchy about the flashy nonsense lately.
I'm not sure. I'll have to watch it. I'm not sure. Yeah. I didn't pay attention to that.
I think they could have some triggers in that, just remembering the visuals from it, because it's pretty intense, and it does have the lighting effects play a part in that.
Does it? Yeah. I don't remember.
Be careful, Cindy.
Yeah, and Cindy does have some sensitivity issues. In fact, I was telling her earlier when I went to the theater to see Shang-Chi, they were also playing Candyman. And at several places at the box office, on the front window, at the checkout, at the concession stand, and at the door of the theater it was in, they had a warning about flashing lights. Mm-hmm. I thought that was very responsible.
Yeah, good for them, man.
Yeah, and Sarah says, someone just sent me a friend request, and the name is all symbols, huh? Prince is dead, honey. Yeah. Prince is gone. It can't
reject
be
that.
Him.
He's a zombie. Reject.
He's
that.
a zombie. That's right. Yeah. He's
Oh,
playing back. That's the zombie you need, Sarah. Yes, I carry some with me. And Brian Hawkins, haven't seen the Matrix trailer yet, but I'm not too excited about it. Maybe I will be after I see the trailer. It sure will hurt you. And Sarah going to see the fourth Matrix with my amazing boyfriend. Got him a treat while Midgard. Well, good for both of you. And happy friend anniversary to Willow Skyler. We have known each other on Facebook for a year. And it seems probably for her like an eternity. But just like a day, just walk through the park. Willow, love you, hon. And check out Willow's show. She's amazing. Brian Hawkins, I'm not sure if it was 2 or 3. I think it was 2. I remember leaving the theater confused. It was probably all of them. And she's mainly going to see it to be with her boyfriend. That's the reason why you go. I didn't go alone. I took my girl with me, and it was Cookie before anyone asked. And Damian Waldron says, I'm playing you live at my table at LCTC.
Yes! I would have been there in person, but now I'm there digitally. Thank you, Damian.
Cool. Thank you, Damian. And also, if you want to see what Damian does, go to www.risingtide.pub for the most beautiful website I've ever owned, and I love it. And Sarah got Volume 1 of the 30th anniversary Sandman Preludes and Nocturnes. Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Hold on. I got something fun for you, Sarah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sandman Omnibus 1, leather bound. I got the other 2 in the living room.
Oh, nice.
This and Hellboy are my favorite comic book runs of all time.
Yeah.
Those books are why comic books rule, because in the 90s, when everybody, in the late 80s, early 90s, when everybody was going mutant crazy, and I couldn't stand to look at one more, he has enhanced strength. That's his mutant ability.
Yeah.
Whoever, fill in the blank, and it was so mutant intensive, and to the point, so much volume that it just, none of it could be really very good. Some of it was good, but most of it was not. Out comes Vertigo. Out comes Sandman. And kept me in comics, because
Watchmen came out through Vertigo.
Watchmen.
And I think was V for Vendetta. Was that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also a goodly portion of the Doom Patrol by Grant Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of there were a lot of Fables.
Yeah, Fables.
Yeah.
One of the finest comics ever produced. I put it up there with Sandman. It was a great series. So There's a lot of good
So
stuff
that's
out
what's
there.
cool about the world of comics is if you feel like you're let down by one of the things that you have loved, or you feel like they've gone off the rails,
Yeah.
there's always other things out there. And right now, it's a very target-rich environment, I think, more so than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Vertigo DC shut it down, and they went to their DC Black label. They still do some stories, but I would say anybody who loves the old school Vertigo stuff right now, Dark Horse and Image Comics are great alternatives to the classic Vertigo. They're putting out similar types of books,
Right.
and just really good quality.
Okay, cool. Brian Hawkins says, I haven't watched Dick Tracy in a long time. Really enjoyed it when I was a kid, though. And Cindy Kemp advises Sarah to install your Wingdings translator. And, oh, no, I got the wrong Jessica Jones trade paperback. I was supposed to get the first one, not the third. That means I go back to the comic shop to fix it, which could be dangerous again. You did that on purpose. Don't lie to us. Anyway, so it's time for reviews.
All right.
Yeah, note the excitement building in the room. Yay. Anyway, let's start it out right. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Syndicate new comic book series, The League of Useless Superheroes. Everyone has a power that seems completely useless, and they have to find unorthodox solutions. I would buy that in a heartbeat.
I feel like the nebulizer would.
That sounds like a DC book, yeah.
Which Justice League is this? But yeah. Oh God, don't get me started.
The
Anyway,
5 in the Legion of Substitute Heroes, those are nostalgic gold. So just leave them alone, okay?
That's right.
That and they have been putting people that don't have any powers and don't deserve to be on a team for years. So they have a DC tradition, and it's a fine one. So
very cool. Well, let's start out the reviews. Brian Rodman, what do you have for us this week?
Well, this week, just to show you before I jump into my review, just show you what I picked up. I haven't read these yet, but I'm very excited about the Me You Love in the Dark issue 2.
So good.
I'll be reading that tonight. I also got the second issue of The Last Book You'll Ever Read.
Nice.
Super excited about that.
You got the G-rated cover.
Yeah, I know. And I got the second issue of The Dreaming City from the new Elric series. But I'm actually going to buy the first 2 trade paperback, or 3. This is actually the 4th volume, because they're going back and redoing all the books. And then I'll eventually get to these to review. I did pick up Joseph Schmalk's Cherry Blackbird, issue 2. I like that it's in a bag because it's apparently 18 plus. I don't know how mature it is in there. I haven't read issue 1 yet. I do have it, and it is also in a bag. So we'll see. But a thing I did really want to point out: Black Caravan is an imprint of Scout Comics, and if we've talked about Scout Comics before, pumping out a bunch of number 1s, different spinoffs. Look what I found. It's an issue 2. Which is fascinating. I also got issue 2 of Masters of the Universe Revelation, the lead up to the Netflix show that's making everyone cry. And then Brian showed this off last week, but I picked up my Creeps Spooktacular. And this is, like you said, Brian, this is the last Creeps that will come out this year, I believe. And they're going to switch over to what is it? Shudder?
Shudder.
Yeah. So I already signed up for that to go in my pull box. I'm excited about it. So this week's review, though, is none of that. This week's review, I don't normally do comicsology books because I like having the physical book in my hand, especially when I review. However, I read just an off chance. I've been interacting on social media with a guy named Dave Baker. And he was recently published through Dark Horse, a different title than this, but he's been just self-publishing like us for many years now. And one of his books, it's a short comic. It's on Comixology right now. I think it's like $1 or $2 because it's only a few pages long. But I got to say, I have never read a comic that made my heart pump in like a suspense way this much before. It is a really great horror suspense comic. This is the artwork for the cover. It's called Suicide Forest, and it is about a serial killer. And it doesn't get very graphic, but just to give you a little taste of the artwork. So it's kind of like a Michael Myers kind of character. So this guy, it starts off, he's stalking this neighborhood, and as we go through, every single shot, which I absolutely love this, every single shot of the comic is told from this point of view. From this point in her room is the entire comic. It's just what's happening. Oops. So you go here, and I love how they do it on Comixology because it never changes. Just it zooms in on a couple things, but literally, if you see, and this is honestly why I love the format of digital comics, but you see the fight happening between the serial killer and the person in the room, and it's all from this point of view, and just the action changes. And it's honestly, it grabs you because I wasn't entirely sure what to expect with this book, but it immediately grabbed my attention when you see the serial killer walk across the room and the panel never changed except for him walking. I thought that was such a cool effect. This balances a really cool combination of animation and comics. I think doing that kind of style, especially digitally with physical books, which this is available physically on Dave Baker's website as well. So you won't really get that kind of, animation analogy with the physical book, but it really works for Comixology. It really works in the digital format. And I would really encourage you to go get it on Comixology, because I think that's probably the best format to read this book in. And I don't want to give too much away because there's not a whole lot to the story, because it's a short comic, but just basically it is about a serial killer who stalks this house and one night strikes. And like I said, like you saw, the story is all told from that corner of this character's room, and it walks you through, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes of a scene, and that's it. But it is one of the most striking comics I've ever read, and it is so much fun to see comics doing experimental things like that. Just the fact that it is, the whole book is from that one perspective, that one point in the room, just watching things change. Is such a refreshing, different take on comics, and just to give the full credit here, Dave Baker was the author of the book, and Nicole Gaux, Gaux, or Bob, is that's here. That's how you focus. There we go. That's how you say your name. So. Or that's how you spell it. But go to Comixology, check this book out. I give it I give it a 9 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because I really wish it was longer. I do. I wish it was. I know it was a short story, but it ended very abruptly. And almost I was like, but I want more, which is good. It's a very good thing to leave you wanting more like that, but I feel like there could have been a little more fleshed out. And I looked and I couldn't find like another issue or another sequel or anything like that. I don't know if there's anything planned, but honestly, just this alone is one of the best short comics I've ever read. So I highly recommend it. Suicide Forest. Go to Comixology, pick it up tonight. like I said, it's $1 or $2, and it'll be a fun read for your evening.
Excellent. Well, yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Please.
I remember when the Batman 66 comic came out, had something similar from that, where you see the panel, then you touch the corner, and suddenly you see the rest of the punch being thrown. But something
cool,
like this with that kind of perspective is very clever.
Yeah, very clever. You can tell he kept comicsology in mind when he was creating this, and he did a very good job with it. So
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's the kind of innovation this medium needs.
Absolutely. And he has a ton of other really good books as well. I'm actually going to pick up pardon my language, cover your ears if you need to. There's a series of his called Fuck Off Squad. That is it is about...
We don't use the word squad on this show, okay, buddy? I'll just watch that, all right?
Yeah.
Gee,
but it's a coming of age story told through a skateboard group. And I'm really looking for... I haven't read it yet, but it reminded me of my friends when I was growing up. So just by the artwork and just the couple pages that were sampled. So I'm going to pick that up as well, and hope I might be reviewing that soon.
That sounds really cool. That's really cool. Now let's get back to the comments here. Hail the Conquering Heroes, this Cindy Kemp. It's time. It's me. I mean, comic review time. And Sarah's never read Sandman, but knew her boyfriend would like it. The treat. Yes, he's a huge fan. He's good to you. Good. He better be. So she's spoiling him back. She has the free comic book day books bagged and boarded, plus the 30th anniversary Sandman trade paperback. I may read it before him. I haven't read Sandman but may put it on the stack for him. Haven't decided. Read it. He'll understand.
Yeah.
Yes, you will love it, Sarah. Yeah. It is so good.
Yeah, and it covers all kinds of genres. It's not just... It starts out as kind of a superhero story, because it has some familiar characters. Yeah, and then right away it goes beyond the DC universe into whole different realms, and it's a great personality-driven book.
Yes,
more so than plot even. And issue 50, what was it? The one with P. Craig Russell.
Yes.
Oh my God. One of the best comic stories ever. Yeah. And she also loves Mechanica. The artwork in there is spec freaking-tacular. And this one's for you, Brian Rodman. We have a blast from the past, Mr. John Celestri. Brian Rodman. The Nebulizer #1 arrived in today's mail. Super excited to read your new hero series.
Very excited to hear what you think about it, sir. So yeah, I'm glad it made it to you safely.
Yes, John Celestri is an illustrious animator and is now doing Bloodwing Angel, his own creation, which is
very good.
It's like Sarah said, it is spec freaking-tacular. It is really fun, really well done. And Teresa Dunn, good morning to you, or actually good evening. I still think it's morning. What do I know? Well, it's morning somewhere. And she also got a hardback Stephen King graphic novel of The Stand. And oh yes,
nice,
yeah,
Camelot 3000, yeah. Brian, Eric, have you read it?
I haven't, but I've heard really good things.
Yeah.
Brian Bolin did the art.
Yeah.
And it is fantastic all the way through. The story is that King Arthur has promised Great Britain that he will return in the hour of its greatest need, and then the alien invasion begins. And he reunites the Round Table and as the people that his former friends and lover has been reincarnated in. It's cool. A genius series by Mike W. Barr, Brian Bolin, and various anchors. And go to read it. Okay, way to hold back on that, Sarah. Way to hold back. We admire your resolve. And Dynamite Black Terror book. Okay, cool. Mine will be better. Anyway, but no, that was pretty good stuff. Good haul there, Sarah. Good work. So Sarah's a happy gal. She's probably ignoring us and reading her new acquisitions, and I understand, especially when she's got Camelot 3000 in there. That's a super book.
Oh, I did want to say one thing really quick, Brian, if that's okay.
Sure.
I just wanted to add to just to say the importance of going to a physical store versus buying online or something like that.
Mhm.
I would have never found this book ever had I not been physically in my store. So, and there's another book that I'm going to review next week that was another one of those.
Mhm.
And I would never have looked for this. I would have never thought I even wanted it. And then I saw it, I flipped through it because I was physically in the store. I bought it. That's the importance of going to your comic book store. So that's your PSA for the evening.
Thank you. That was worth saying. Well, and the thing is, somebody like me, I don't get previews because I really, I've got my list pared down to the bare essentials. Of course, when I first got my pull sheet at Blue Moon Comics in Lafayette, hint, I think I got like 5 titles. Now I think I'm up to 12. So,
Nice.
yeah. Talk to Cookie about that. Anyway, but no, you're absolutely right. You should support your brick and mortar places because they are the backbone of the comics industry as things currently stand. And I think are going to be around a long time, especially if we support them. So please support your local comic book shop. And let's see, I have more, but won't bomb the chat. I'll show you the rest of them later. Thank you, Sarah. Well, we'll have time because Sarah, along with Cookie and myself, we will be at SI Comic Con in Benton, Illinois, a week from this coming Saturday. Please come out and see us because at least 2 out of 3 of us are awesome. So you can come out and figure out who's who.
Brian, after you recommended Suicide Forest,
Yeah.
I went and read it. And
In the last 3 minutes, Clyde?
Wow, glad I vamped. Which means that Clyde didn't hear a word I said.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, Brian's talking. Let's see. Oh, look, there's a comic
this
book I
is
can
a great
review.
book right here.
No.
Let's just read
You
this
talked about
and
it.
screw
You talked about
whatever
it.
they're saying.
You talked about it a few nights ago, remember? You were
Right.
very
Yeah.
Very
So I
excited about that.
Yeah,
We
I did
talk
that.
between us
Not during the
briefly.
show. Yeah, yeah, goofs. But here's what I came out with. Have you seen the movie Trick or Treat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Imagine, and you know Season's Greetings that it's based on.
Yeah.
A little animated. While I'm reading that, through the second time, I'm like, that guy from Trick or Treat needs to animate this story.
Oh, that'd be good.
I mean, it has that kind of, to me, had that kind of a vibe about it, which
A little bit.
I love that. That's one of my favorite pieces of animation of modern time. And that story would be so, because he does that. He does that kind of peekaboo, letting you know, but not showing you all.
Yeah.
Same kind of an approach, I think, visually.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that like a lot of like pretty much, 80% of the action
Yeah.
takes place off panel in the book. And it's just leaving. You just have sound effects, Eric. You're gonna love it, and just has sound effects.
I just read it actually. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
That was wonderful. Yes.
I feel left out. I have to run the show. Damn it. Anyway.
But it's very stylistic, very great. Huge compliments to Dave Baker.
Yeah. Well, because I apparently have to go out and buy that comic book now, we're going to bring Eric Hawkins to the show.
All righty. Well, I got all kinds of stuff to show off. I'm just going to review one book, of course. So I don't have an Ollie's near me, but Brian does, and he was kind enough to pick this up for me. It's upside down. Go, if I hold it the other way, it's going to flip over. But all the books, it's the complete collection of the Baum books from the Wizard of Oz. Softback, but they're so awesome because I kind of like Oz stuff for some reason.
No.
Yeah. Also, I got in
Hope
the
you
mail
enjoy
this week Grim 101 from Ted Davies. There goes
Nice.
the bookmark. And I just want to show off his penmanship here.
Yes.
Yes.
It's awesome, and you can tell he's in the drafting field. Oh, Geiger. Geiger just keeps getting better and better, and I love it.
Eric, do you like Geiger?
I do like it. Now, so I was at BergCon this week. My brother attended it with me, and I was kind of right across from Brian Morris. And these two idiots.
Don't hold back, Eric. Tell us
So-
what it does.
We've all heard me talk about Colin Bunn, and most of his stories I've had to go out and try to figure out what's going on the internet. So there was an auction for some Colin Bunn signed books. Well, these two morons won the auction and gave them to me. So here's Micronauts #1 by IDW. Right there, Colin Bunn.
Mm-hmm.
That was mine.
I haven't read it yet.
What?
This one actually does look interesting. Man, I'm not going to open it up. Wolf Moon by Vertigo, signed by Colin Bunn and someone else. You really can't read what that one is.
Who else
It
worked
might
on it?
be Han Lowridge. I'm not sure. But yeah, well, thank you guys. I do appreciate it. So, and of course, I bought another Colin Bunn book this week, Lucky Devil #2, because I like the first one. I also got the last book you'll ever read #2, but I got the undressed cover, so I cannot show my cover.
It's worth it, guys. He showed us.
And
It's
Rodman,
really undressed.
yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
warn you, there is some graphic sex in the middle of the book.
Oh, is there? Well,
Yes.
I'll be back in 20 minutes. I think my comic shop's still open.
And The Me You Love in the Dark #2, just as good as the first issue. I do highly recommend this book. It is great. And
I'm so
what
excited about that one.
it is so good. I can't wait for 3. Now I'm coming to this one, which this is a different kind of book. It's not superhero. It's not horror. And I picked it up because I used to watch the show The Americans on FX about these Russian spies who lived in America back in the Cold War. And this is Almost American by Ron Mars and Marco Castiello. And it is created by Jan Newman, who is actually one of the people this book is based on. This is based on a true story of 2 Russian spies.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. It's a husband and wife team who defected to America. And I'll tell you, the worst part about the book is there's the actual Russian spies. That's the creator of who created the book, and it's their story. This guy is so full of himself in his little bio back here.
Oh.
I was like, man, I read a halfway decent book, and you do this?
He says, yes, I am Russian spy.
I'm like,
You come and
yeah.
endure me.
I'm starting to wonder if he was, but the book, I mean, it starts out, there's no sound effects, but and actually nothing really happens in the first issue, but it's an interesting story of how they defect from Russia to come to America to live, and trying to offer something to the Americans that the Americans will accept them. The art is really good. It reminds me of I would say, I can't remember the artist's name, but he did some X-Men books back in the day.
It kind of reminds me of the art from Birthright.
It could, yeah. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Stuart Immerman.
Yeah, but there's some beautiful imagery. This first issue just talks about them coming to America, basically. This is kind of cute. They offer them some Samway, not Subway, Samway sandwiches.
Excellent.
they had to get on. They got on a yacht, and they had to take a little dinghy after they got on the yacht, and then they got kind of seasick. Then they offered them food when they got on a plane. But you can't spoil anything because nothing really happened. It's just the story of how they got to America, what they offered the Americans to become spies for America. It's from Aftershock Comics. I do find the Aftershock Comics seem to be a little more expensive, like at $4.99.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you get a good quality book. Typically, most of the books I got from Aftershock I've really liked. I can't remember if there's a Colin Bunn one from Aftershock. Now I'm going to have to look.
We'll see if they have one in next year's auction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great. Yeah, they might. The story is paced well, and if you like something different from your comic books, I would highly recommend it because issue 2 looks like it's going to be pretty good as well. And if you want to see a guy who's kind of full of himself and talks how he was on a TV show and afraid people might see him, and they did, but never tells anything about that in the back in his bio, you'll love this book. I give it a good 7.5 out of 10.
Cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. Let me get everybody up in here. There we go. It did sound good. And you started talking about, somebody who's full of themselves. I'm like, I've never been to Russia.
Yeah.
But anyway, Carl Winston's wondering about the pronunciation of what Clyde called us. Better put up the mature audience sign. And yes, I do know about your secret cabinet. Oh. Anyway, Sarah. And speaking of the alert that there's graphic sex in the middle of the book you're reviewing. Yeah. Well, we feel incumbent upon us to tell everybody where the good stuff is. So,
yeah, I'll show part of the cover here.
Oh, I was about to say Eric.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, I can only show that much of the cover. now this, who puts out this? I can't remember who puts out.
He said puts out.
Wow. I just take the book out. What did I do with the other card?
Don't flip that around.
Yeah.
I took the book out.
Okay. There we go.
Vault. It's a vault undressed. So they're polybagged, and I didn't buy the first issue because it's polybagged and $1 more in the regular issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, "Oh, that's strange. Well, let's see how far they actually go." Oh, further than I thought. But maybe I'll have to do that with the Zombie World of Oz.
There we go.
Undressed editions.
You should do the undressed edition of the Tin Man. That would be funny.
He was undressed in issue 3, right? The first page. He doesn't have his pants on.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, or he could have like an undressed flying monkey or something.
There you go.
Oh, here, I'll show the top of it too.
Okay, here we go. Getting you the screen again.
This is where I kind of thought it looked like Adrian Barbeau.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially the hair.
Yeah.
It's
From
very
Creep
80s.
Show. Was it Creep Show? Yeah.
Creep Show. Creep Show and The Fog.
The Fog,
and Swamp Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. She
And
was pretty
Cannonball Run.
prolific.
Yeah. Let's just name off all our movies.
Yeah, really. Welcome to IMDb Live. So anyway, and Brian Hawkins, I'd be curious to see how many books Cullen Bunny does a month. I think you need to go to his website, not just to figure out what he's writing about, but also to figure out how many books he's got going on. And Sarah wishes she had started reading the Jessica Jones arc, but we'll read Sandman and Mechanica and other books until the mix-up is fixed. You will thank us for it. And it seems he has had at least one book out every week. Must be nice.
I think he's writing a whole lot of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Really
or it could be he's been writing his stuff for years and getting it produced, but it's all coming out all at the same time.
Probably.
That's how my stuff seems to work. So anyway, I will continue the reviews now, and then we'll end with the gold standard Clyde Hall. But anyway, hi folks, how you doing? Anyway, it was a pretty light week for me as far as my needs, wants, and desires. What I'm reviewing tonight was not on my pull list, but I was glad to get it. And of course, we got the new issue of Knights of the Dinner Table. If you're a gamer, you will dig this book. The crew are up at GaryCon this week. And Justice League Infinity, which is kind of hopping on the bandwagon as Infinite Frontier and all, talking about the various multiversal sort of things going on in the DC cartoon universe. And speaking of Infinite Frontier, we got the final issue of that. This is going to lead to Justice League Infinity, I think it is, in 2022. And I'm going to put myself down for it because I really, really, really enjoyed this book. It feels like it's a little, it's got a few more pages. It has a happy ending. So definitely worth checking out, though. But what I'm going to review tonight is my second book from Vault Comics. As people who follow the show know, Clyde and I are fans of the Blue Flame. And This one got me on the cover because that's a pretty cool cover. The book is called Dead Box, and we'll explain why in a minute. But it's written by Mark Russell, who we've mentioned on here, having written the Flintstones, Snagglepuss Exit Stage Left, and a wonderful 3-issue series for that came out over the summer, Superman versus Imperious Lex. That was like a Roadrunner cartoon.
Billionaire Island too.
Yeah, Billionaire Island. Yeah,
Island. Check that out.
On that.
It's kind of a, because I went ahead and got what you're about to review, and if you like that, I think you will really appreciate Billionaire Island as well.
I will have to check that
same
out.
vein.
Thank you. But anyway, I would check out anything with Mark Russell writing, and this is no exception. The artist is Benjamin Tiesma. Colorist is Vladimir Popov, and sometimes you ever hear a name and you think it's got to be a pseudonym.
I love that name so much.
I do too. And the letterer is called And World. But anyway, it's a nice book. It takes place in the town of Lost Turkey. And there's some beautiful philosophy that opens up the book about ownership of land. There is a thing later on that where she has an internal monologue about the downfall of civilization will be its willingness to defend stupidity as freedom. One doesn't explain the circus geek by arguing over whether or not he should be free to bite the head off a chicken. In fact, such a debate serves only to distract itself from the real issue. Why would he want to bite the head off a chicken to begin with? A society that cannot tell the difference between freedom and stupidity may or may not remain free, but it will surely maintain its commitment to stupidity. But this revolves around a convenience store and a young woman named Penny, who is missing her time to go to college because of her sick grandfather, I believe it is, or her father rather. And in the corner of this convenience store is, remember, you've seen these things, the red boxes where you can rent movies.
Yeah.
Except this one is called Dead Box. No one can find any existence of the movies it contains. They're in this, and she is using one of those as entertainment while she takes care of her dad, who they are not very wealthy. They can barely afford the pills that are barely keeping him alive. And so she rents something called The Volunteer, and it segues into a first contact kind of story with a twist at the end of it. And she's interrupted a couple times by the patrons. And in the end, we get to see her dad. But it's a really, really interesting book. There's like 2 or 3 stories in one in this one. There's also an alternate cover, but this is the one that spoke to me. Welcome to Lost Turkey, where the main source of entertainment is a cursed DVD machine that seems to know more about the fate of its citizens than they do. Like other works by Mark Russell, this is filled with profundity as well as solid entertainment, and the spooky is amped up to about 12 or 15 on this one. I don't know how many issues this is supposed to run, but I hope it runs a good long time because this is really, really good reading here. The art is very, very evocative. Coloring is nice. And of course, I can't say enough good about Mark Russell's story. And for this one, I'm giving it a 9.5. It is that good. It has got some serious spooky going on. And I'm like the rest of the crew here. I want the next issue to come out like by the time I put this one down. Well, crap, it didn't happen. So, okay, I'm giving it a 3, okay? And I may throw this damn thing across the room if I don't get my book real fast. But anyway, no, that is our review of Dead Box by Vault. Just came in this week. It's my second Vault title, and I am digging the heck out of it. And also this one, I didn't count the pages, but it doesn't feel like, or it feels a little thinner than the Blue Flame, but there's not any ads in it.
That's nice.
Kind of, at least let me double check that. No, the inside covers both relate to Dead Box.
Nice.
Cool.
So yeah, this is It's only $3.99, but it delivers a lot of punch for a very low price.
Vault is another company I have enjoyed most of the books I've picked up from them.
Yep.
Yeah.
That actually sounds really good, Brian. I think I'm going to pick up the first issue tonight on Comixology, and then if I like it, I'll add it to my pull box.
I don't think you'll be disappointed at all, Brian.
While you were doing your review, I bought it and read it. No, because
I'm going out for beer and pizza while Clyde is talking.
Because you tipped your hand about it earlier in the week. I got a copy. I would have anyway because Mark Russell. But really, really, well, he's doing a Fantastic Four life story. And
yeah, that's right.
That has not been, of the things he's written, it's not been my favorite. It's Spider-Man life story was really good by Chip Zdarsky. And, so I expected kind of a continuation. He goes his own route with it. I'm starting to warm to it, but it seemed like it was not as flowing quite as freely as some of the other things. This was back to form for him, what I'm used to seeing and what I kind of expect out of him, which is really high quality. And it was, it's everything you said and maybe even more. It's good stuff.
It seriously is. It is. I put this up here with like James Tynion the Fourth or Joe Hill, any of their works.
Oh wow! All right.
Yeah, this is solid entertainment if you like scary stuff. So, and no, it's not a DC comic, Ted. If you're listening,
actually, what's so funny is as you were like, I didn't check to see who. I didn't see if it was Vault or DC or not. And as you were talking about, I was like, "Is that a DC book?" I was like. I'm just waiting for Superman to show up, and I was like, "This doesn't sound like a DC book." And then you held it up and said Vault. And I was like, "All right."
DC has been putting out a couple of horror books lately.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah,
The Nice House on the Lake. That's quite a good one.
And the Conjuring stories.
Yeah. Which the best one was the short story at the end. Wasn't that written by Scott Snyder?
Yes.
It was really good. It was really good.
Scott Snyder can, whatever you think of his Batman or Justice League, the guy can really write. He's got, he's got a good command of craft.
Read his series Witches. I think that's him. I think he did Witches with Image Comics. Let me look that up real quick.
Well, one of the things I picked up at BurtCon last week was I got the hardcover Superman Unchained by him and Jim Lee.
Really good.
It's really good material. Really good. The book itself is about 1/3 variant covers, but even those are pretty nifty. But no, it was a really solid story. Snyder, like I said, I think he's got a real good command of his writing ability. And
that was like 12 issues. When didn't he do 12 issues?
Yeah.
What, like Batman was like the following year after Batman or 2 years after he did Batman.
Yeah.
And I looked it up. He was the writer on Witches. If you like scary books, and honestly, Sarah, that book would be one to find because it's really dark, really well done, so good.
Very cool. And let's see. And yes, Colin Bunny. Oh, I thought you were making a snotty remark.
I did too.
Which Brian Hawkins would never do.
In the next 3 weeks, has 4 more books coming out.
Oh, really?
Wow. He had to have had a huge backlog.
That's why I'm thinking he's digging through all the stuff he thought was crap.
We'll buy this now.
He's like, they'll just buy it because my name's on it.
And I'm writing an 8 to 10 page comic story, and it may take me months to get it done. So anyway, and Sarah's working. Oh, the title Dead Box has caught her attention, and Sarah's now she wants the book. That is why we're here, Sarah. That's what we do. And Glenn B. Fleming, that time of the morning, guys, 20 after 1 a.m. here. Now, Glenn took me to task. It's like, why don't I broadcast during his day? Ignoring the fact that I'm on Nevermind the Furthermore Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, which is probably within Glenn's time. But Glenn will be coming to that show soon. And we're glad we can make you laugh, Sarah. That's also why we're here. Glad to see you evening here. So you are in the future. Glenn is talking to us from the future. Oh, dear God.
1.21 gigawatts.
Oh, and I can just see Glenn now going, oh, yeah, I'm about 6 hours in the future from you. Oh, it's been good knowing you guys. And what book, Rodman? Didn't catch it. Would you repeat that for us?
Witches.
Witches.
It's Wytches. Really good.
There you go, Sarah.
Yep.
Yeah, part of our function here is to clue y'all into books you might not be reading, and you probably should. So, with that in mind, I can't wait to hear what Clyde Hall has to relate to us this week. Clyde, take it over and tell us what we ought to be reading.
All right. Well, for one thing, I'm really happy to see not the big two being covered by everybody. And these are some good books this week. These reviews, some of the books that they have covered, these are, I think all three of those, very much worth picking up. I have not read, although during the reviews I've read all the others, apparently, but I have not read Almost American, but it's one that's on my list to get. And then when Eric said he was going to review it, I'm like, good, I'll get to see if I want to go ahead and go through with this or not. And I definitely do. I was intrigued by the concept of it. But I guess as a reaction to Vault and Aftershock and all the other comics, I'm going to be doing a Marvel book that has its own kind of backstory with me. But first, the other things I got this week, I also picked up Infinite Frontier, and I will be picking up the follow-up series, just like Brian, because I was fairly impressed with it. I picked up the very last Eve story, which I had done a review about Eve midway through the run. And so this is the final book. The TPB should be coming out. It has a really good ending, very satisfying, wraps things up well. One of those Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings kind of an ending to it that, it resonates very nicely for the rest of the series, all the travails that have been gone through. Nice House on the Lake continues to be a solid read. For creepiness, we have the Shang-Chi books have been a delight. And with the Shang-Chi movie coming out now, I think this is, I don't know how much it'll impact or be based on the movie. I doubt that there'll be a whole lot of similarities to some of the details, but doesn't matter. As an ongoing series right now, it is a lot of fun. And each issue, it guest stars some major Marvel stars. Number 4 this week is the Fantastic Four, because it's all about family, and a very solid read. Continues to be good. One of my favorites of the month. Also, one of my favorites of the month. We've got the 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton, and we get to learn more about possible killer of Trigger, but we also get a send-up of inside the actor studio where one of his sidekicks was a guest. And it's like a 3-page interview, and it is just hilarious. And, that's why this book rules. It is so funny. It has such heart. And, every cover is also one of the variants is a tribute to a different magazine. And this time we have the New Yorker with Trigger on the cover there, with all of the knives, the 6 different knives stuck in his back. Nice. So those were I got quite a few books this week, but those were the ones that really shined. I don't have any to throw across the room, so it's been a good week. However, a couple of weeks ago, annuals started to come out, and one of the ones that got my attention by going to the comic book shop, just like Brian Rodman talked about, was a Spider-Man annual. I don't normally do annuals very much. I read a lot of the things I read are companies that they're not big on annuals, so the opportunity is not always there. I don't follow enough series for me to always feel like it's worthwhile as far as the big two, but this one, the cover got my attention, and then I was like, whoa, this is not a Spider-Man annual. This is a Spider-Man life story annual number 1. And I'm thinking that series has been done with. It ended last year. I was wrong. It ended in 2019.
Wow.
Why would they do an annual? You know, it's a limited series. It's finished. Why would they do that? But it piqued my curiosity, so I picked it up. And first thing, this is what got into a debate with other friends about it. And John Pica had mentioned it too. Annuals for a lot of fans and readers mean they don't want to have to be following the series necessarily to enjoy the annual. They want the annual to be pretty much standalone. If they have to have read a whole bunch of stuff to get the annual, to understand it, that's a turnoff. And I understand that. I kind of agree with that overall. But in this case, if you don't read or have not read Spider-Man Life Story, which is available as a trade or individually in issues, then you won't understand this at all. But I'm so glad that they I'm sure that Chip Zdarsky said, hey, you know, we mentioned a lot of things in passing in that title, and I've been thinking of this one, and I'd like to do a one-shot that tackles these issues that we brought up but we didn't follow up on. And they went, okay, Chip, go ahead. That's the feeling that I get from this. And I'm glad that they gave him the green light, because it's one of the best books that I have read this year. As far as, I have a long history of loving Spider-Man, being a Spider-Man fan. So it spoke to the nostalgia in me, and then it also blazed new trails that I had never considered before. So Spider-Man Life Story #1. That's the cover that got my attention. We see J. Jonah Jameson imprisoned within the webbing of the costume. Now, I'll give you a peek at the artwork real quick. We have, and it is not the kind of story that resonates with big battle scenes. Just not that kind of story. That's okay. They don't all have to be. In Spider-Man, we've seen some really big action sequences. Now, we do have a few at the beginning. There we see battle scene. But then we see, and this sets the tone for the rest of the book, a much more reflective Jameson behind bars. And then eventually we get the best kind of both worlds, I think. We have this ultimate spider slayer and him taking to the streets one more time. So, get to the review here. This book is just to give you an idea of how the whole Spider-Man series works, of the Spider-Man Life Story series, that is. It is told in a not floating timeline. They consider what they do normally as a floating timeline as far as regular comic continuity goes. In other words, Spider-Man is never going to be an old guy, okay? Or maybe eventually he will, but for the most part, just like Superman and all these others, marketing will not allow him to age in a normal way. Life Story looks at the same characters and says, okay, they're going to age, they're going to age like we all do. So that's the difference. Most of the same things happen, but Peter Parker is a 20-something and then a 30-something, and he ends up being a senior citizen in the way the stories go. Yeah. So Spider-Man Life Story Annual #1 is a Marvel $4.99 comic written by Chip Zdarsky. The art is by Mark Bagley. Inks by Andrew Hennessy. Colors by Matt Mila. And letters by VC's Travis Lanham. The maturity level is considered rated T. So J. Jonah Jameson's always been a strong supporting character and a pain in the spandex tuchus for the Spider-Man titles. Whether he's the maliciously leering, obsessive JJJ as first drawn by Steve Ditko, and gotta say this about Ditko, he knew how to render a face ready-made to hate. Or if he's the cinematic, played mostly for laughs, Jonah of J.K. Simmons in the Sony properties, now Disney. He's a fascinating study in complexity. Does he have an overdeveloped hate-on for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? Yes. Does he mix that vendetta with a surprising sense of journalistic responsibility sometimes? He does. Has he actively taken steps to eliminate his arachnid-powered scapegoat by any means necessary, including shadowy funding for killbots? Yes. Has he teamed reluctantly with Spidey when they found themselves on miraculously the same side of an issue? Yes, again. In the earliest days, JJJ was the guy young readers loved to hate. He was a member of the older generation who not only maligned a kid trying to do the right thing, but he was profiting from the sensationalistic character assassination that sold a lot of newspapers with it. There's a lot there to hate, especially in the later 60s. This establishment versus youth conflict embodied what was happening in the United States and around the globe. And readers enjoyed seeing Jonah get his comeuppance, whether it was being webbed into his favorite chair or having Luke Cage, the original hero for hire, return Jameson's retainer fee for bringing in the wall-crawling menace by force-feeding him a greenback sandwich. Still, JJJ crossed the line as his opponent continued prevailing. Measures like funding for the Scorpion or commissioning the Spider Slayer series of mechanoids meant to hunt down, capture, or kill Spidey always seem the sorts of things which he should have faced legal consequences for. Well, in Spider-Man Life Story Annual Number 1, Chip Zdarsky and Mark Bagley used the life story element of a non-floating timeline, years passing for the fictional characters as they do for any of us, in exploring JJJ's vendetta, its cost, and its eventual resolution. Side note, as I said, to appreciate the series, you've got to read this limited series. Or to appreciate this book, you have to read the limited series. But I would recommend the series. If you have not read it, it is definitely worth a look. Peter Parker he's bitten by a radioactive spider. Each issue basically represents a decade. So he gets bitten by the radioactive spider in 1962. He begins his superhero career. He's a kid in high school. Next issue, he's a young adult in the 1970s. And we get an interlude of what happens. It doesn't cover the whole decade, but important event or events, maybe 2 per decade, each issue. A middle-aged parent is Peter Parker by the 1990s. And eventually, he's a senior citizen by the final issue. And there's still a symbiote story in all that. And there's still the Secret Wars. And there's still the Clone Saga, but each one plays out differently than they did in regular continuity because of a more realistic passage of time. So in the annual, readers witness Jameson's more legally questionable tactics in his war against Spider-Man land him in judicial jeopardy. JJJ's a man who doesn't get better when handed such a setback. He just gets bitter. And he was no font of happiness to start with. So incarnation does not improve his disposition regarding his costume nemesis. And we're offered a view of just how determined and single-minded a purpose Jameson can be in pursuing the person he blames for everything that's gone wrong in his life. He cannot be reasoned with in this matter. He's invulnerable to facts or reconsideration. He is on a quest, and one that can only end when he is finally proven right that Spider-Man is the menace he always proclaimed him to be. Those are Zdarsky's narrative. Sets up Jameson so that we see him evolve as well as devolve. His is a story in this issue of obsession and drive and ambition and eventually healing and redemption. It does not excuse JJJ's excesses, but it does try to understand him and the journey that he takes as the years pass. And in doing that, it may be one of the best J. Jonah Jameson stories told so far. Mark Bagley's art with inks by Andrew Hennessy has a maturity that's just right for straddling the eras presented, from JJJ as the crusading publisher, going gray at the temples, to elderly JJJ, who may be physically diminished, but whose resolve remains rock solid, nose warts and all. Colorist Matt Mila works in a few splashy and chromatic Spidey appearances. Well, I showed you one, but it's not that kind of a story. It has a moral neutrality in its tone, which Mila, I think, represents well with the chosen palette that he uses. There is no overage of brightness in the substance of Jameson's tale, and neither is there overmuch in these panels. The font work and the sound effects by Travis Lanham are also subdued. In this kind of story, battle sounds are not very prevalent, but he does work in a few anyway, just because he knew that would make Eric happy. So mostly though, he floats the dialogue and Jameson's inner monologue effectively. Again, for this type of story, that's a vital part of the telling, and Lanham does not disappoint. Seeing an annual for Spider-Man Life Story on the shelves was unexpected. The 6-issue series finished in August of 2019, and a TP soon followed. But on reflection, there were interesting and divergent elements in that series which were mentioned just in passing, and could be explored more fully. Jameson's decade-by-decade journey wasn't one I'd considered, but I'm grateful that Zdarsky and his creative team did. It's a rare example of a standalone issue, good enough. It makes getting and reading the TPs worthwhile all by itself. The limited series was quite good, especially if you're a long-time Spidey fan. You'll appreciate the events of his career that are portrayed and their life story variations from the established continuity. If Jonah's Life Story Annual #1 is any example, may there be many more stories told from varying perspectives in a Marvel reality where time stands still for no one, mortal, mutant, or superpowered. So my score for Spider-Man Life Story Annual #1 is 9 out of 10.
Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
Color me impressed.
9 out of 10 from Clyde. I think I got to go get this book.
No joke.
Get the
And
series
for
first.
an annual even.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
Well done. Well done.
And it's one of those, I've always thought Jameson was fascinating no matter how he's shown. He's got, he was a crusading journalist. He put major gangsters behind bars with his headlines.
Right.
When he became publisher, it seemed to, and they mention this in the book, is becoming publisher was probably not his best first. He should have been left as an editor with somebody like Robbie Robinson being the publisher. Because that requires more finesse and more in the public eye. And I think that's an accurate estimation of maybe where he took a wrong turn or didn't evolve with the opportunity he was given. But this just, hit on all cylinders as far as my longtime Spider-Man fandom. It worked for me. So
That's great. Well, you were talking about having an annual for a book that wrapped up 2 years prior.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, gee, maybe we'll get an annual for like Untold Tales of Spider-Man
yeah.
or Omega the Unknown or something.
Yeah.
Really dig deep in the vaults for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we have some more comments. And Glenn B. Fleming said, I thought your morning shows, my afternoon, were just there for you to read out comments. I'll be on all three soon. Well, yeah, there we go. I'll just give the show to you and I'll get my mornings back. This will be great. You're more fun than I am anyway. And also please check out Indiegogo. Glenn B. Fleming is producing a book with accompanying DVD about his trip, his 2 dinners with Jack Kirby, the king of comics. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And we will be having Glenn on the morning show sometime because we are going to be wrapping up we're going on temporary hiatus with Clever Title Pending starting in October because we got something better coming up, namely the Dastardly Dingoes. So I wanted to...
I don't know about better, but
I
it'll
do.
be fun.
I've seen your show. I've seen mine. I like yours better. Anyway, it's certainly easier to produce. But anyway, and also stay tuned for the Dastardly Dingoes this month because they'll be interviewing some of the members of this crew, and there will be a crossover, just like in the comic books. So anyway, Brian Hawkins reminds us it is WYTCHES. Kind of curious to check it out himself. And wants to know, did Bagley do the art for the series too? Clyde?
I'd have to, I think so, but I would have to go back and check. I'm not certain off the top of my head. I'd have to look.
Well, Bagley's done how many hundreds of thousands of issues
Let me
of
check.
Spider-Man? Seriously.
He's working on it
drew
right now,
Amazing
isn't he?
Spider-Man for the longest time. Yeah. I see his art popping up in Amazing Spider-Man every now and then too.
Yeah.
And good evening to you, Grant Lankard. Glad you're here. Check out Beowulf. Go to monarchpublishing.net, I believe it is. And you're welcome, Sarah. And fascinating. Yes, Cindy, it is. Comics are cool. So Clyde's doing the research now. Why didn't you do it while we were doing our reviews?
I don't know. Well, you put me on last. That's what you get. Back in 2019, writer Chip Zdarsky and artist Mark Bagley teamed up for Spider-Man Lifestyle. I was pretty sure, but I hate to go, yes, it was, and then they go, no, it wasn't.
Oh, you know we wouldn't have mocked you about it.
Oh, no.
Not us.
I have a host of friends. Thank you so much.
And we thank you guys for your great reviews. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. And something that happened this week, I want to point people to our friend Joe D. McPhee from the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. Last Saturday night, in fact, check him out every Saturday night. He's a happy new addition to the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. But I'm still most of the way through the show, but he had a really good examination that Comixology is going to be merging with Kindle Direct Publishing.
Yeah.
And don't want to really, steal any of the thunder. For those of you who don't know, Comixology, of course, is a way to read comics online, whether you purchase them or get like a package where you can read like an unlimited number every month, kind of like the equivalent of like what, Amazon Prime or whatever. Would you call it?
Yeah. I mean, really Comixology is you can do a subscription where it's like you get unlimited, and there's certain books that you can just read like a library, not like a library because it's not free, but it's like $5 a month, something like that.
Yeah.
So and then other
Kindle
books
Unlimited, there's another thing like that. Yeah. But Joe, I haven't gotten all the way through. Like I said, I haven't gotten all the way through his video. It's been busy this week. but Kindle Direct Publishing, or KDP, is the publishing arm of Amazon. It used to be just for ebooks, but about 3 years ago, it merged with the physical copy version of Amazon to mixed reviews, shall we say?
Yeah.
Charitably. I know my dealings with, I am not as enamored with them as I once was. We'll put it that way. But Joe is, I'm thinking Joe's going to do a follow-up on it, but, granted, none of us really know how it's going to shake out, but how do you guys feel about it?
Well, first, as a consumer,
right,
I'm a little worried. Just because I don't like change. And for me, like, I love Comixology. I mean, I use it all the time. So I haven't looked too much into how this is going to cross over. Like, so does that mean that my Comixology, the Comixology app's just gone? Will my books carry over? Those are questions that I have. Did they say
they should?
would?
Because I've bought some books off of Comixology, and I can pick them up in my Amazon Kindle queue.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I don't know. I mean, from a consumer's perspective, I'm like, oh, really? Something else? Something other, more change that I have to get used to. Which this kind of sucks. I was in the middle of getting issue 1 of Memoirs together to submit to Comixology. So now I've got to, kind of get back up to speed as to what that looks like. It may not even be worth my time now. I'm not sure.
I think KDP, I think that I want to say it was easier to create the files for Comixology than it was for KDP, because I've done both with the Zone for World of Oz #1.
Yeah.
I think it was more simpler to do it with the Comixology, because you just lay it out and everything. But I don't know. I don't know how it'll work. I mean, obviously Amazon owns Comixology, and they'll probably take the reader over there as well to use that way, with the swiping and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. They'd be stupid if they didn't do that. That's
no, they would lose everything.
Format. Yeah.
So does this put more money directly into Jeff Bezos' pocket? Is that the?
Well, Jeff Bezos, did he step down?
Yeah, he's no longer
Well,
chairman anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They still get money, of course.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
But
He'll
how
get
many
money.
millions of shares of stock might he be sitting
Right.
on?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. He'll get all his money and his flying wiener in space. You know.
okay. So
there we go.
does it make big business already big business bigger? Because my uninformed kind of opinion of that is I'd rather see it divvied up a little bit, kind of spread around a little bit more than Walmart closing everything and being the only place you can go. And once they close everything, like in our town, the Walmart came in and closed every party and craft store here.
Yeah.
And then they halved their variety there because
Right.
they'd already run everybody out. I hate that. So if it leads to those sorts of things, no, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
As a consumer, if it continues on the kind of service Comixology has been, which was a real lifesaver during the pandemic, then fine. But I'd rather still see it being. Monopolies are just generally not a real good
fun thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just my like I said, uninformed. I haven't really read up about it. I don't know. But that's just my first reaction.
Yeah, and I can't say I know everything about from the Comixology point of view. I do hope that they maintain the page view thing that you can do.
Yes.
Because that's kind of a cool feature. I will say the KDP is very easy to upload, but their customer service is for crap. I tell this story often. I've told it on the morning show frequently. When CreateSpace, which is the former paperback arm of Amazon, they print the physical copies of the books. Well, then they merged it with KDP, and all of our files were then grandfathered, if you will, over to the KDP side. I had no problem with that, but I had a friend who he had done a book that was very much pictures, and I'm sure it's going to be smoother this time out. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, he had a book that had a lot of pictures in, and the pictures came out all wrong. The chapters were like in the wrong order and everything. And he wrote them 3 emails outlining his problem, asking what could be done to alleviate this. And previously, under CreateSpace, you could write Amazon a letter. They would acknowledge it within 2 hours and get you an answer within 24. He never got even an acknowledgement of his 3 emails. So he sat down on the phone and he hung on the phone for 45 minutes waiting to talk to customer service.
Wow.
Yeah, which already he'd lost me there, but I don't do waiting well. But anyway, he finally got a human to talk to him. He outlined the problem to them, and they said, "Oh, that's simple. Just drop us an email. We'll take care of it." And I think it's a good thing the customer service person wasn't within arm's reach of my friend. He'd probably be in an Illinois state prison right now on death row. So
This is why big business, the bigger it gets, the more stories you have like that of, whether it's intentional of, I've had, I don't get my oil changed at Walmart because they tore up one of my door handles, and then they're like, yeah, that was already like that. No, you broke it. Getting in to change the oil. We're Walmart.
Yeah.
So that between that attitude and then just we're so big that we can't keep track. I would rather see things not be all under one roof for the most part.
Yeah. I think for the consumer, I think, if they put this all under the Kindle Unlimited, where, if you pay a certain price every month, you get access to a whole lot of things like movies, and all the books you can read, etc. That might be good for the consumer, but I think for the creator, it might be a whole different level of difficulty now, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of why, I was saying, it might not even be worth my time anymore. I may just focus on Webtoon and things like that for my digital presence and leave it at that. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that makes
sense. Webtoon, there's another one that's fun to format for.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't DC just announce an alliance with those guys?
Yeah.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And DC's putting out a lot of, Marvel I saw today is putting out a lot of digital only content,
which is strange because Webtoon's a free platform.
Yeah,
right.
So far.
Yeah, so far.
Hey,
Hey, people
What they'll
start paying me
probably-
to watch my stuff. Good.
Well, what they're probably going to start doing is like, if you want certain books, you have to pay, and if you want like the the plebeian level where we're at is it'll be free.
Right.
So
Yeah,
we can get
they'll have
Omega the Unknown free that way.
yeah.
There you go. or Night Nurse.
Or Night Nurse, yeah.
Night
Modeling
Nurse.
with Millie. Actually, I'd pay to read those things. But anyway, we'll just have to wait and see because like I said, I haven't finished all of Joe's video yet. But I do urge everyone to please check out From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher last Saturday night. Joe's stuff is always good. Please subscribe to his channel too.
Yeah, there's been I've seen a couple of creators post videos about it in detail about everything. I haven't watched any of them though. Just got too much stuff to do right now.
Yeah, it's been my week too. It's like I'd like to research this, however. So
I've
like
got one book on Comixology, one on KDP. It's the same book. Whatever happens, happens. I've made basically no money off both of them. So
Yeah.
okay.
I was gonna say at the very
I
end.
got 30 cents a few months ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
Back of the Brinks truck, Mr. Hawkins is here.
Yeah, now I won't be freaking out. I won't be freaking out until till Kickstarter's bought by Amazon, and then I'm gonna be like, no. Then you'll see Brian throw an epic fit. So
Every
that
now
would
and
be
then they
horrible.
do. There are rumors that Kickstarter might get taken over by a larger concern. I think last rumor I heard was Amazon.
please, no.
Kind of like one-stop shopping. We'll distribute your book and we'll help you get the funding for it too, because we haven't launched enough penises into space yet. So
Yeah, that's I'd rather not. I'd
Or
rather
like
have
want
my
to,
own
but
printer
they do
do
have
it.
the audience. They do have the reach.
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
But it feels more like we're Amazon. Take over one corporation and two more will come into our control as well. It's like
Well, what
business
you'll see
Hydra.
what
Yeah.
you'll see is if Amazon takes over Kickstarter, you'll see everybody head over to Indiegogo.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Who aren't
They're
already
gonna want
there.
to print it themselves. They're not going to let you go where you
Yeah.
want to get it printed.
Which that's what I'll do, because I'm not going to bow the knee to Amazon. No thanks.
Yeah, and the thing is with Amazon, as I was telling Joe D. McPhee in correspondence this week, there are alternatives to Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Places like Draft to Digital, Ingram Spark, which actually has greater reach than Amazon, and it can get it on Amazon too, along with several other retail outlets like Walmart and Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. Just like Amazon can. Plus, it's the outlet that a lot of schools and libraries and such. Most of them don't buy from Amazon; they buy from Ingram Spark. So
Now, is that where you're moving all your books to? I know you've
Yeah.
talked about that on Nevermind the Furthermore.
yeah, my next publications will come out through Ingram Spark. I don't know that not immediately. I'm not going to immediately pull my books from Amazon, because here's what's funny about it. If I were to pull, let's say, the original Skyman Battles Master of Steam, # always promote, # buy that book, it's really good. Thank you. But you can tell Amazon I'm pulling this book down, but the listing doesn't go away. So then I put up the new version, and the thing is, I'd have to make substantial changes to it too in order for Amazon to justify carrying basically two versions of the book, even though one link will be dead. But you do a search, and that book, the old book, will come up. It's very confusing, but it also makes Amazon look at all the stuff we've got. Even if you can't buy it, we've got a picture of it.
Yeah.
Well, so we'll just have to see what happens. But like the internet, we will make ill-informed conjecture about it all you want. That's my job. So let's see. And also, folks, if in 3 minutes, at least if you're watching us live, Stupid O'Clock will be starting. So please check that show out when you're done here. A lot of great conversation from a bunch of intelligent, geeky guys. And it may be the only show funnier than ours. I can't be certain. So anyway, Cindy Kemp says, Comixology joining KDP? Be afraid. be very afraid. She has stuff in Kindle too, KDP too, so she knows. And so KDP has messed up so many of my writer pals. Yeah, it has. Well, and also their shipping is terrible too. It used to be they would send you books and they would put in like cardboard packing in between the stacks of books so that the books didn't move and less chance of them being damaged. And then they'd put like like either wadded up paper or those little inflatable bags on top to keep them from moving. Friend of mine had a Kickstarter campaign, ordered 47 copies of his book. 3 of them came in a box. The remainder of them came in envelopes. One right after the other. So where's the money going? Yeah. Yes, and Joe pointed out that you can't upload a PDF. Actually, in Kindle, you now can. But I think you lose some of the versatility in presenting it because of the difference in proportion between, say, watching it on a phone, or watching it on a computer or iPad, whatever.
I don't know if you can for a comic book. They have special software you had to download to format it to KDP.
Yeah, they used to have special software too for Amazon. Cookies coming in, yes, honey?
Uploading to Amazon?
Uploading to Amazon, yes, dear.
Prose Press requires a PDF.
Right.
To upload for the regular book.
Right.
And then an EPUB.
Oh, that's true. EPUB gives you a lot more versatility. That's another formatting thing. I'm reminded by.
That's for electronic only.
That's for electronic only. But yeah, they have been allowing PDFs on Kindle. But I don't know that you get I don't know it has the same ability to like resize the type as the old section did.
That's just for print.
No, that's not just for print. I uploaded a PDF to ebook one time.
Okay, yeah, but it's usually they prefer the pub because then it will adjust.
Well, I didn't have a formatter in the house back then, so.
Sorry.
Yeah, you should have learned sooner. If you want to come work for me, woman. So anyway, I hope you heard that happen. Yeah, yes, dear. The other 3 are mocking me because this will be the last time I'm seen on this show. Yep. Okay, love you, honey.
You're gonna die.
I'm surprised I'm still alive. That's
right. Have you noticed like a stockpiling of lime bags in the garage or anything like that? Just curious, because be careful, my friend.
That's right. But get yourself educated. That's the main thing. It might be not as bad as we fear. It might be even worse because it's Amazon. But anyway, so hey, yo, Pops fans, saying good to see you here at Comic Talk. Ace Bonnie says my preference. I'm a physical media person. I like to handle it and smell. Well, if you would take a bath more often, Ace, you wouldn't have that problem. So, but whatever appeals to you, sir. Well, the thing is, I've said for years that when you review a book, I've not read one that says I picked up J.K. Rowling's latest book, and boy, does it smell great. It really has a nice heft. It's to me, it's just a means of conveyance. Glenn B. Fleming said, "If I own Kickstarter and Mr.
Like.
Say what?
I wonder what this one smells like."
That's scratch and sniff, Eric. Anyway, Glenn B. Fleming says, "If I own Kickstarter and Mr. Bezos called me and say he'd give me $1 billion for the platform, I'd ask him, where do I sign?" Yep.
Yeah, I would.
I would too. I'd pony up.
And then everybody who used your services would be sad and angry
but you wouldn't care.
See, I don't know, man.
Right.
Like,
what are they?
Like, Brian, you'd have the money to cure asthma, just like
no, wouldn't. See, in all
because it's already cured. You'd get the cured pill, but they already have.
According to Scientology guy, he's cured asthma. You just gotta ingest his bone marrow. But no, I don't know that. And this is a lot easier to say right now than if I were actually to see $1 billion check in front of me. But I don't know, man. That would be hard because of how much I am against monopolies. Like, I really, I don't know. I mean, if I owned Kickstarter, I wouldn't be hurting for money to begin with. But,
yeah,
I don't know. It's just a principle thing at that point. Like, I'm feeling the same with Disney. It's like, I love the stuff Disney puts out, but I really don't want them to own any more companies. You guys really need to stop buying companies so other people can actually do their own thing.
In regular books, at the turn of the decade, or the turn of the century rather, we had 8 major publishers.
Mm-hmm.
We're down to 4 now.
Yep.
And the service ain't getting any better. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I think Diamond is probably the best example of how monopolies go, terribly. And look what happened to them this past year.
Yeah, and there is chatter on the federal level that they are looking to break up Amazon because it has grown too big.
Yeah, I'm for it. I think it needs.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
I'm never for it's one of those things I don't necessarily like government coming in and doing that kind of stuff, but at the same time, when a company's that big, what else is bigger that can take on that thing? So it's I don't know, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's a monopoly versus monopoly. You've got King Kong versus Godzilla, and you're not sure you're better off whichever wins.
And during the battle, we're all dying in the buildings down here.
Exactly. That's it, exactly. Sarah says the silver lining of a bigger company is that we'd be able to get gift cards, which would make it easier for some of us who can't put financial info online. That is true. That is true. Carl Weston says our Lulu books show up on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, but their prices are almost twice what they cost on Lulu. That's the thing. My Amazon books cost the same at Barnes & Noble and all. But we've got a bit of a markup too, so that could be a factor in it. But Carl, by the way, you got a book review today on Mad Gasser Cheerleader, available on Lulu.com. And Cindy Gap says, I upload Condemned Courier to KDP and it's not linked to the pre-existing paperback. I'll have to pester them. I always had to do that on mine too. I think there's a button you can now push to make that happen, but I put up whether I put up the physical or the electronic version of any of my books, I had to write Amazon and said, here's this page, could you please link them? So it makes it easy. And thank you for dropping the knowledge, Cookie. And scratch, sniff, and lick the spine. That's what we're about here, by gosh. And I wonder why the government.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the ball there.
The book. Yeah, the book.
Yeah. My new books are going to come pre-licked. Anyway, Grant Laggard says, I wonder why the government doesn't step in with some of these monopolies. They have political action groups. They have lobbyists. Every industry that you could possibly think of, Grant, has lobbyists. Why do you think the I think it was 1996, 97 Sonny Bono Copyright Extension Act was passed? It was because of Warner's and it was because of Disney pumping money into Congress and bypassing, doing their best to bypass the election financing laws and everything. But that's otherwise Superman would be in the public domain by now.
Yep.
So would Mickey Mouse, and they're not having that.
Yeah, the government did step in a couple of years ago with GE appliances. Because GE didn't sell everything off; GE sold the appliance division off. Frigidaire, which is actually Electrolux, which is I think a Swedish company. I can't remember if it's Sweden or wherever. They wanted to buy it. The government would not allow them to. Because they said they'd have too much of the market, but they did let Whirlpool buy Maytag and Amana and all that. So GE appliances, for anyone who doesn't know, GE appliances are Haier appliances. They're owned by Haier, a Chinese company now. They have been for about 6 years now.
Yeah. Well, what was it? Yeah, that's a good point, Eric. And I remember back in the 90s, the Staples office supply chain tried to buy Office Depot, which was basically at the time it was like number 5 was trying to buy us, and I was working at Office Depot at the time, and we were number 3. They tried basically a hostile takeover, which was pretty popular in those days. Hi, Luna. And the thing is, it didn't go through Congress because that would have given Staples too much of the market, of the business supply market. But what was it? Office Max, I believe, was purchased by It went under before it went under. It was picked up by Office Depot, and I think it in turn was picked up by Staples because now Walmart sells enough office supplies that that they don't have in effect a monopoly. That's why I've always bristled at people calling Diamond a monopoly, because it was not a true monopoly. It had a stranglehold on the industry, but there were still independent magazine distributors, still independent book distributors that were doing some of the things that Diamond could do. And even for a while, I mean, I don't see many comic books anymore hitting regular, like, grocery store stands, whereas I did about 10 years ago. But, it's all moot now with Diamond on the skids as it is. So anyway, Sarah says, I usually prefer going to small business to help keep them open. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And the legislation exists. They just need to enforce it. Yeah, that's true. But like I said, a lot of money gets pumped into our government. And I ain't talking taxes here. And retail kaiju. There we go. Cindy's got it. And thank you, Brian. You're welcome, Carl. I was glad to. And City Cat politicians need to wear jumpsuits with patches for all the lobbyists they take money from. Yeah, no great joke. and the thing is, also, I think you're going to see the copyright extension. I think you're going to see some major overhauling of the copyright in the next 10 years.
It's got to be very soon. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think. I want to say, and I probably am wrong on the time, because since the Sonny Bono Act, basically it had a shelf life, and since it stopped being enforced because it expired, every year another year's worth of creative stuff goes into the public domain, meaning anyone can use it. Now, Disney and Marvel and DC and Warner's, they won't be hurt because they own the trademarks. That's a whole different show. But I think, I could be wrong, but I think in 2030, I believe Mickey Mouse, the very first Mickey Mouse cartoon, will be in public domain.
2024.
Oh, 2024?
Yeah, it's going to be quick. I knew it was coming up quick. So
wow.
In the next 3 years. What, 4 years?
Was it Steamboat
Willie?
Willie?
What year is it? 21?
I don't remember.
Steamboat Willie, the first appearance of Mickey Mouse. They've got to do something quick. Nobody's. Yeah. I haven't heard anyone really talking about doing something, but they will.
Oh yeah.
Because if they forget that,
they won't.
They won't forget it. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the Burroughs Corporation, Edgar ERB Inc. Edgar Rice Burroughs. They, due to an oversight, they didn't copy. Back in the day when you had to renew your copyright, they didn't renew it on the first 5 Tarzan books. They didn't renew it on the first 3 John Carter books, which is why those are in the public domain, but they still own the trademark and John Carter, or rather, they don't have the copyrights on them, but they still control the trademarks on John Carter and Tarzan. And I think there's several other works by Burroughs that are in the public domain due to this oversight. That's why the Superman cartoons by Max Fleischer are in the public domain. However, I wouldn't put out that I've got a Superman thing going on because DC lawyers will.
You do have a Superman thing going on.
Just like me and Mrs. Jones, baby. I'm telling you. Anyway, Glenn Fleming says, I've always wondered why here in England there's only one Monopolies Commission. See, they've got a monopoly on the Monopolies Commission. See, it's insidious, Glenn, insidious. Got an X Factor, Many Lives of Madrox. Ever read any of these opinions? I know who Madrox is. I have never read that particular one. Gentlemen, have you?
Nope.
It says it's a hardback book, but I've not read it. I always used to
read it and let us know what you think.
Yeah, we'll let you review the book. That'll work.
Yeah.
I know Madrox, the Multiple Man, but I don't.
He was in the issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of X-Men Legacy.
Cool.
I was going to review last week.
And I remember he was a semi-regular in X Factor back in the 90s. So, but everyone was an X-Men back then.
I was going to say, and amongst the hundreds of X-Men members.
That would have been the government X Factor at the time. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. Written by Peter David. Drawn by Joe Quesada, by the way. So, So it's tasty art there. Good stories. So it looks like we have run through the comments and we have caught up with our discussion. So I think it's time we let people go see Joe Dog and Skunk Rocker and everybody on Stupid O'Clock, and also The Last Man Standing 2 hours later, 11 p.m. tonight. Definitely check them out. They taste just as good on the reruns, whether you want to watch them live or otherwise dead. But anyway, we're gonna go around the room here, and we're gonna tell y'all how to keep up with us, where to go, and then we'll start the after show. Anyway, so yeah, the part we don't record for a reason. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, let's start with Clyde, then Eric, then Brian, and then the other Brian, and we'll then sign off. So Clyde, tell everybody how they can keep up with your exploits.
Well, hey, thanks for watching tonight, and thank you for your comments. I'm Clyde Hall, and I am an independent writer. I'm a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. You can find not only my work, but many, many fine publications at www.stormgatepress.com. If you like new pulp or you want to try new pulp, it is the first stop that you should make on your exploration of that genre. And if you like anthologies, if you want a sampling of some of the best new pulp, we have Pulp Reality #1. It's award-winning. And Pulp Reality #2. They both have short stories that my B-Man character is in. Just submitted the third B-Man story for Pulp Reality #3, which will be coming out soon. We also have some other projects. Can't talk about them in specifics, but I'm given the opportunity and I'm humbled to be able to play in some other people's sandboxes and use their characters to write about some for some anthologies. So you can also follow me on Facebook. I have an account as Clyde Hall, and I have a group account as Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall. And you can also find me on Twitter, although I'm not as active as I am on Facebook. But at Twitter, it's CJ Hall 1984. And you can find me here on Thursday nights with these other guys.
And we're glad to have you, Clyde. Thank you so very much, my friend. And next in line is the one, the only, Mr. Eric S. Hawkins. Eric, how can people follow you?
Hey, you can find me on Twitter, obviously ES_Hawkins, which is always right back there. I'm also on Facebook at Eric Hawkins, Eric Scott Hawkins, Stone Door Studios, Zombieful World of Oz, which is still available on Indiegogo because I just haven't gone out there to shut it down. And I even got a new backer a couple weeks ago, which was very odd. And actually, you can actually find me on Patreon, and I put the link in the chat. And my Patreon has been open for about 4 years. But I never promote it, and I only have 2 patrons, and both of them these books.
We are supporting you then, right?
And I just found out tonight I have never transferred any of the money I've gotten from Patreon.
Wow. Payday! All right.
All right.
No. There's only 2 patrons, so no.
Oh.
But seriously, I am putting out a drawing series on Patreon. It'll be once a month. I'll be putting that out there for the patrons. And it is going to start out with basic body, how to draw the basic body, starting with this actual stick figure, and you build from there with shapes. And that will be next week. I'm putting that out.
Beautiful. Looking forward to that. And I'm proud to be one of your patrons. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And somebody else I'm a patron of is Brian Rodman. Brian, how can people follow your astounding exploits?
My astounding exploits can be found at brianrodman.com. And there you'll also find a ton of books. Go there to find the horror fantasy comic book series Memoirs of an Angel, which is currently in a pre-launch stage on Kickstarter for issue 8. Head to this link and get notified upon launch. It'll be October 1st, probably at noon, and it's going to be great. We are excited about it. I got to say, the next 2 issues, or the next 3 issues, so 8, 9, and 10, wrap up a huge arc that began with issue 1, and then leads right back into a familiar story that everyone should be used to at this point, and waiting to hear. I also have the Nebulizer. It will be on brianrodman.com, I believe, starting next month, once everything reaches our backers right now. And it is a post-apocalyptic action comedy about an asthmatic who fights allergen mutants. And it's a lot of fun. It's silly. It's a voice for the asthmatics out there, and it is it's a ton of fun. I had a great time doing it, and I'll have a great time building that world as we go. And like I said, you can go to brianrodman.com, follow all my exploits and all my shenanigans. From there, all my social media is right at the top of the webpage. I'm also 1/3 of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, which you will be from now on be able to find on the Rising Tide Network starting October 6th, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Brian. Always a pleasure to have you here, my
Thanks
friend.
for having me. It's been fun.
It has. It has. And I am Brian K. Morris, and I am the chief set of hands and chief writer at Rising Tide Publications. Go to my website, www.risingtide.pub, where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. The next issue will go out October 1st. We'll be talking about the shows we've got for the rest of the year, which should, with any luck, wrap up in October. So we'll have nothing to talk about in November and December, but that's never stopped me before. I'm also available on Facebook. I prefer you find me on YouTube, though, where we will be launching a brand new show in October called BK Minutes, and we think you're going to dig it. We're going to share some of the stuff we've learned over the years, or every now and then we'll get cranky, but also always in short bursts. So please check us out there. I'm available. My books are available on Amazon and on Smashwords. And we are here every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time. And we also are sponsored by the one, the only Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Check out their page on Facebook. Also, check them out on plasmafiregraphics.com. Also, you can contact Jeffrey Hayes directly and get his rates. He is very, very affordable. Trust me, we're using him. Anyway, Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your readers, that's for sure. And speaking of people that matter to their audience, that's the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Currently, if you're watching us live, Joe Dog McKeel has started Stupid O'Clock with a great panel, talking nerdy, talking fun, talking laughs, and you'll definitely want to catch that show, followed by Last Man Standing with Dan Hollifield and most of the Stupid O'Clock cast at 11 p.m. tomorrow morning. We will be on again with Nevermind the Furthermore, the interactive creative conversation show, where you get to type it in and I will read it. We'll have a conversation that way. And then tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, will be Nicholas Anthony Tockard with the Historical Fencing Guild, where he'll teach you how to murder your friends and neighbors the safe way, just as they deserve. Anyway, please check out the Rising Tide the Rising Tide Broadcast Network on Facebook. Also, the Rising Tide Publications page on Facebook. We have new content there constantly. And also, please check us out on Patreon, a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly. All these people have their own patrons, and I'm proud to be 50% of the Eric Hawkins own support system there. But anyway, you get something for that monthly stipend that you send us. So please check out what I'm offering at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And to make up for 2 weeks where I was working on a or actually 3 weeks where I was working on a major assignment, career change and stuff, we're going to be spoiling our patrons for the next week or so with some extra special content. So please sign up for that page and be amazed. And I think that's everything. We had a couple more comments, and love you too, Sarah. And hello, California bound Ted Davies Artistry. We were just talking about how wonderful Grim 101 is. Go to teddaviesartistry.com and also check out his Facebook page. And yes, no, it's me and Brian Hawkins. So anyway, Cindy Cap says, thanks for hosting the adventure. Much fun was had by all. Definitely for us too, Cindy. Thank you for being here. CKOAPP.com. Check out her books, including Animal Eye, a brand new comic book. Definitely worth your while. And with that, we are going to close out the show. We will be back next week at 7 p.m. For the usual fall to roll, except every issue is special for us. And we hope you'll join us for that. Whether you're watching live or on the rerun, we appreciate you all. And also check out the Facebook challenge. We'll have more information on that tomorrow morning on Nevermind the Furthermore. So in closing, this is Brian K. Morris saying, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great night, and thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready. Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows, including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and Nevermind the Furthermore. See you next week.